So to begin going over your homework from last night, the longest side of a triangle is going to be opposite the greatest angle. Now we do have angle A, which is unknown, but I know that every triangle has 180 degrees in it. So if I subtract the two known angles of 85 and 32, I get an unknown angle here now of 63. The greatest angle is angle B. Therefore, the longest side is going to be the side opposite angle B, which is AC. And my selection over here, that is choice B. Number 2, the greatest angle. The greatest angle is going to be opposite the greatest side. The bigger side is 36. The angle opposite it is F. So angle F is the greatest angle. Now for terminology. The point of congruency of the angle bisector of a triangle is known as the incenter. It is going to be an equal distance from all sides of my triangle. Number 4, the point of concurrency of the altitudes of a triangle is called the orthocenter. That is choice I. Number 5, the point of concurrency of the perpendicular bisectors of the sides of a triangle, that is going to be choice D, which is the circumcenter. That is going to be an equal distance to all the vertices. Number 6, a point of concurrency of the medians of a triangle, that is known as the centroid, choice C. It is also going to be the center of gravity. Number 7, a line from the vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side is known as a median, choice F. Number 8, a line from the vertex to the opposite side forming a right angle is known as the altitude, which is choice A. Number 9, in an indirect proof, what would be your assumption for the following? If I missed too many days, then I have to take the exam. The assumption is always going to be the opposite of my conclusion. So my conclusion in this is I have to take the exam. So my assumption would be that I do not have to take the exam. Number 10, based on the figure to the right, what is the range of possible values for x? If you notice where x is, it is a portion of my external angle. My external angle of a triangle is equal to the sum of the remote interior angles. Therefore, it has to be greater than either of the remote interior angles. One of my remote interior angles is 42, so x plus 8 has to be greater than 42. If I subtract 8 from both sides, I get x has to be greater than 34. Now, for the other piece, I know an angle, the x plus 8 in this case, has to be less than 180 degrees. So once again, if I subtract 8 from both sides, I get 172. So my angle has to be between 34 degrees and 172 degrees. Number 11, in the figure to the right, G is the circumcenter. Since it is the circumcenter, that means it is an equal distance from all three vertices. So that means GI, HG, and GJ have to all be equal in length. They're asking me for the length of GJ. They gave me GH being 32. Well, since GH is equal to GJ, I know that GJ then is 32. Number 12. If G is the centroid, what would be the coordinates? The centroid is the center of mass, which means if I take all of my x values, the 3, the 14, and the 7, and add them together, which is a total of 24, if I were to divide those by 3, because there are 3 points, that gives me an x value equal to 8. I can do the same thing for my y value. Y is equal to the sum of all the y values, a negative 5, a negative 6, and a positive 1, all divided by 3. That gives me a value of negative 10 over 3. So negative 10 thirds, or if you have that as a mixed number, negative 3 and 1/3, that would work as well. I would not accept a decimal unless you had it as 8 negative 3.3 with the repeating sign over it. Number 13. What is the range of possible values for the length of the third side of a triangle if two of the sides are 61 and 92? Well, I know the third side of a triangle has to be greater than the difference of the two sides. So if I take 92 minus 61, I know that my third side has to be greater than that amount. Well, 92 minus 61 is 31. So my side length, which I called S, has to be greater than 31. At the same point, my third side has to be less than the sum of those two sides. So if I take 92 plus 61, that gives me my S value being less than 153. So the third side has to be greater than 31, but less than 153. Number 14. What is the range of possible values for the value of p? This is where I'm going to use the hinge theorem. If you'll notice that 14 on this side and 14 on this side are equal. We also have a shared side in these two triangles, therefore those are equal. If I highlight one triangle in yellow, I have two sides of that triangle being congruent to two sides of my other triangle, which I'm going to highlight in orange. Since the two sides of one triangle are congruent to two sides of the other triangle, the angles between them, if they are not equal, then the sides opposite are not going to be equal. The greater of the two sides is going to have the greater opposite angle. Well, the two sides that I'm looking at is this side of 22 and this side of 19. They're both opposite the angles of 60 and 3p plus 1. So if I take 3p plus 1, I know it has to be greater than 60 degrees because the side opposite the 3p plus 1, which is 22, is greater than the side opposite 60 degrees, which is 19. And now I can solve for my p value. If I subtract 1 from both sides, I get 3p is greater than 59, which means p has got to be greater than 59 thirds. I will leave that as a fraction. If you wanted to make it into a mixed number of 19 and 2/3, that would work. For my other p value, I know once again that it has to be less than 180 degrees. So the 3p plus 1 has to be less than 180 degrees. If I subtract 1 from both sides, that gives me 3p is less than 179, which means p is less than 179 thirds. And now for the proof. I know that Km and NL are equal. Well, that also means that Km and NL are going to be congruent by definition of congruency. They indicated to me that Kn, which if I highlight in orange, and ML, which I highlight in yellow, are unequal. Now I've got two triangles here. NM is shared by both triangles. So I'm going to go ahead and state that NM is congruent to itself by the reflexive principle. Now I've got two sides of one triangle, the orange, congruent to two sides of the other triangle, the yellow. That means that these angles that are formed by those respective sides, if they are unequal, then the sides are also unequal. Well, here it says that Kn, according to my given, is larger, so I'm going to put L for larger, than ML, which is the smaller. That means angle 1 has to be greater than angle 3. That is based off of the hinge theorem. Now, this proof is going to be worth 2 questions. I'm going to give 1 point for these two pieces. I'm going to allow you to skip one of them. So if you had one of those two, you got the question right. And then obviously your reasoning for number 4 is the other part.